Hey Lorain County Hoop fans, welcome back to another episode of In the Paint, brought to you by our friends at First Federal Savings of Lorain. I'm your host Rocco Nushi, the one and only, the legendary Kristen Bauer behind the camera. Before we get started, got to remind you to like and subscribe to that Chronicle Telegram YouTube channel. All the latest video drops, all the latest content, and so much more can be found at that Chronicle Telegram YouTube channel. So again, like, subscribe, turn on those notifications, and you'll get everything you need right there again on the Chronicle Telegram YouTube channel. So here we are, the Final Four. The tournament trail down to the University of Dayton continues, and not one, but two teams out of the SWC will be representing the conference down in Dayton. Only one of our local coverage schools, that would be the Midview Lady Middies, of course. So let's start right there with them. And boy, what a regional round it was for them. They started off by just throttling Archbishop Hoban. Then they follow that up with a 62-59 win over Solon last weekend. Fantastic effort by Coach Brittany McNamara and her Lady Middies. And it all starts, of course, with Olivia DeFranco. She had 23 points in that contest. Liv is just on another plane right now with the way she's been playing basketball, and certainly has been dominant every time she's touched the floor her last couple of outings. But it wasn't just Liv in that win over Solon, folks. There was four middies who finished in double figures. Of course, Mary Mang, she had 11 points alongside freshman Leah DeFranco, and then Grace Seymour had 10 points. So again, four finishing in double figures with the Lady Middies, and this was just a heck of a finish. They found themselves down one with about 15 seconds left to go. Solon was at the free throw line. They missed the free throw. Liv DeFranco grabs the rebound, kicks it off to Mary Mang near the half-court line. She shovels it back to Liv, who just takes it the rest of the way. A beautiful rack attack by Liv DeFranco, drawing the foul, gets the basket to go. She misses the free throw, but they force a jump ball on the rebound. Two more free throws for the middies, and they end up holding on again. 62-59 was the final score. And a huge night for Mary Mang. Of course, we mentioned the 11 points, but 20 rebounds for Mary. That's the second time she's had 20 in her past two games, so 40 rebounds in her past two outings. She also had 6 blocked shots against Solon. So the way her and Liv are playing right now, I don't know if anybody's going to be able to knock off these middies. And don't forget freshman Leah DeFranco. I mean, just, a freshman leading the charge offensively against, just very talented, experienced players at this stage of the postseason. It's just been very, very impressive with what the freshman Leah DeFranco's been able to do. And of course, all those Lady Middies. So congratulations to Coach Brittany McNamara in obviously a very emotional win for them. I saw a very beautiful post that was written by her dad on the Mac Basketball Twitter account. Of course, Brittany just kind of early in her coaching career, being on the younger side of things, there could be some disrespect that maybe comes your way at times, but Brittany doesn't care about any of that. Coach McNamara and her team punching their way down to Dayton. It's the state Final Four. Certainly looking forward to seeing what Midview can do down there as they get set to take on Cincinnati Princeton, who sits at 26-2. Before we talk about them, I got to give a huge shout out to the Midview student section. Just the footage I saw of them at that game against Solon, it's just very loud, very raucous right from the get-go. So shout out to the Midview students. They traveled very, very well. But again, now their attention turns towards Cincinnati Princeton. They come in at 26-2. They're on a 15-game win streak. This game's at 6 on Friday on WEOL. And just a little bit about Cincinnati Princeton, the Vikings. They're led by Soleil Williams, who scored 22 points in their regional final win. She's committed to go play college ball next year at Texas A&M, so certainly some talent on that Princeton side. They got another senior guard in LaSonja Hill. She's very dangerous. She had 14 points in their regional final win, and they're led by head coach Dee Davis. Very talented coach, very well respected down there in that Cincinnati area, and again, they're on a 15-game win streak right now. They won the state title back in 2014. This is their first state appearance since then, so Princeton will certainly be hungry, but for Midview, their first trip to states, they'll be hungry as well. Again, we'll have that game at 6 on Friday, on WEOL. You don't want to miss it if you can't make it down to UD. And how about Olmsted Falls? We got to talk about them as well. The other team out of the SWC punching their ticket to the state Final Four. They won their regional final in dominant fashion, knocking off Holland Springfield. 63-21 was the final score. It's their first Division I Final Four in school history. And Paige Kohler led the way. She had 13 points, 9 rebounds, 9 assists, flirting with that triple-double. Paige Kohler continues her dominant season. But Danielle Cameron actually led the way in the scoring department. She had 23 points. Mia Kalich had 20, and those three right there, Cameron, Kalich, and Kohler, I think those three right there have maybe some of the best chemistry any trio in the state of Ohio has, which makes them very, very dangerous at this stage of the postseason. So very curious to see how Olmsted Falls fares this weekend as well. They get set to take on Pickerington Central, and we know all about that Pickerington area as far as the basketball play goes. So both of our SWC teams will have their hands full in the state Final Four this weekend at the University of Dayton. We'll have that game right after after the Midview-Princeton game. Again, that one's scheduled for 6, Olmsted Falls and Pickerington. We're looking at about an 8 o'clock start. It'll be about a half hour after that first game ends, so you can catch it all, of course, again on WEOL. Some news outside of the state Final Four teams, as well as Lorain Titans head girls basketball coach Mark Feldman is calling it a day. He is stepping down from both teaching and coaching at the end of this year, so congratulations to Coach Feldman on a fantastic career. He took over the Lorain girls program back in 2010, and he finishes his head coaching career with a record of 155 wins and 135 losses, so congratulations to Coach Feldman on a stellar career. I know Lorain will certainly be missing him, no doubt about it. So that brings us to this week's College Corner, again, where we look back at a former Lorain County athlete and see what they're up to now at the collegiate level. And I kind of cheated this week. We got a repeat player in the form of former Lorain Titans standout Jameer Billings. He's at the College of Worcester right now. They just finished up their season. Jameer was named first team All-NCAC. That's the conference that Worcester's in at the D3 level. He had 30 points in their conference title game. Unfortunately, Worcester fell by just 1 point to Wabash. 81-80 was the final score there. But Jameer, just a fantastic season for him. He's the first Fighting Scot with 2 seasons under his belt with at least 140 assists, and he's the second with 2 seasons with at least 65 steals. So making Worcester history is Jameer Billings, and he is the focal point of this week's College Corner. And speaking of college basketball, we got to remind you that Mid-American Conference Tournament, some action coming to Cleveland this week over at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. I know the girls got started Wednesday, the boys get started Thursday. Should be a ton of fun over there in Cleveland, no doubt about it. I myself go just about every year that I can, so it should be a ton of fun both on the boys and the girls side. Championship Saturday for both the boys and the girls as well, so plenty to look forward to with college basketball this week. Again, get some action over at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. Should be a lot of fun there. So what's coming up this weekend? Well, already kind of told you about it on WEOL. Friday night, we got the doubleheader. First, it's Midview and then Cincinnati-Princeton at 6 o'clock. Rob Polinsky and Jared Kozar are making the road trip down to Dayton to call that game. And then right after that, they'll have game 2 as Olmsted Falls gets set to take on Pickerington Central. Again, Midview and Olmsted Falls looking to punch their ticket to the state title game. How fun would that be if 2 SWC schools met up in the state final? So that pretty much does it for this week. Getting down to the nitty-gritty, like really down to the nitty-gritty at this point. And best of luck to both Midview and Olmsted Falls this weekend down at the University of Dayton. So for Kristen Bauer behind the camera, I'm your host Rocco Nushi saying thank you for listening to another episode of In the Paint, brought to you by First Federal Savings of Lorain. We'll be back next week with the season finale.